One of these two teams will play East St. Louis Lincoln tonight for the Class AA champions. Rock Island against Peoria, and the coach of the Peoria Central Lions, of course, is Chuck Bisher. First of all, before we go into this game, Chuck, I saw the look on your face last night when Chicago Heights Bloom was giving your team all kinds of trouble. It looked painful. That had to be a tough game to go through.
Well, it was a very difficult game. I was very, Bloom played a ton against us, Jim, and I was very pleased with what we did. Some of the things were very frustrating, but the end result was what we needed.
What about this ball game? The Rock Island Rocks will drive you crazy with a very pesky defense. That is not something you're unaccustomed to because your defense is dynamite as well. I guess it all is spearheaded by Allison, huh?
Allison's a key player for them, which Coach Reed said, said put in the papers today. And they got a lot of size, and they're big. And we have to use our quickness in this game if we're going to be successful.
Chuck, this may sound like a rather strange question to a coach of a 31-0 ball club, but is your team playing as well as it has during the course of the year?
Well, I think we played well yesterday, or we wouldn't have won. We've played better than that. And probably our high point of the year was the end of January when we played Rock Island and played so well against them. And we've probably not been back to that, mainly because of the injury to Reynolds. We haven't quite gotten back to that same sync, and maybe an alibi, but that's kind of the way it's been. But we're playing well now, and there's no excuses,
You and Duncan Reed were talking just before you came out here. What was the chat about? The weather?
What do you think? With Duncan, you never know. We were talking about officials a little bit, about his team a little bit, about our team, and hope we had a good game.
Chuck Bisher, best of luck to you.
Okay, thanks a lot.
And as the coach of the Peoria Central Lions, and now stepping in will be the aforementioned Duncan Reed, the head coach of the Rock Island Rocks. Good afternoon, Duncan.
Hi, James.
How you doing today?
Good, thank you.
What about your defense as opposed to this defense? I know that you said Reynolds was one of the only people across the state that has broken your defensive pressure all year long.
Well, he at the full court level, he's like Brandon. You can't. It's almost impossible to stop him. They got so many moves. They're strong. Push the ball up by you, and then they go for the basket. So one of the defensive keys, I think, today to stopping him will be to stop the penetration, certainly. But we're very fortunate to be here, and I'm very proud of our young men. I think that they've represented our area and our region very well. And whatever happens today in either ball game is not an indication of what a great season it's been. I think that what we're going to try to do is to play some triangle in two, and we're going to get back in a zone, and maybe we'll have to come out of that. But initially, by gosh, we're not going to let them push the ball full court on us.
See any of the King East St. Louis Lincoln game?
I saw the last half. In fact, I watched the whole thing before I went down because we had our meeting this morning, and it was a great game. And gosh, I'm glad they won the city because they won in the state.
Duncan Reed, you're one game away from a possible championship. Best of luck to you.
Well, we were here last year. If Brian's shot goes in, we're down, and you never know. Peoria Central's an awfully fine basketball team with more experience, bigger athletes than we, but sometimes strange things happen, and we're hoping for good things for the Rocks.
Duncan Reed and his Rocks are ready to roll. So are we. Let us pause for these messages. Thanks, Duncan. Good luck.
Let me introduce you to Gary Vansel, the head basketball coach at Ottawa up in the North Central Conference. And wasn't too many years ago, Gary, you had a ball club down here in the quarterfinal round, so the Assembly Hall's familiar territory to you?
Well, we were down in 1985, and it was a great thrill for us.
This tournament has had just about, speaking of thrills, everything imaginable. It's been a great spectators tournament, hasn't it?
It sure has. The talent is unbelievable, Art. And, of course, this first game this morning was a great ball game. And a mild upset, I think. And now Peoria Central, Rock Island probably looking forward to the opportunity. Whoever wins this one, could have a shot.
Well, of course, you had to be aware of Rock Island because your ball club, they didn't make it to the Super, but you would have gone that way. And they're kind of a misleading team. They play real hard. They're a little unpredictable, aren't they?
They're very good. Very well coached. Fundamentally, they do everything well. Play great defense, Art. Very good defense. And, they've got a shot at it.
A couple of fine coaches in this one, in Reed and Bisher. They've been around before. They know what it takes to win.
They sure do. They do a great job with their players.
Were you surprised at all of the King matchup with East St. Louis? Outside of the result, I think you termed it a mild surprise, but was the game played about the way you anticipated?
I think so, although you always wonder if maybe one of them would want to go up tempo a little bit more, but the way the game was dictated is so close. I think they value each possession so much that they didn't really want to get out and run, but East St. Louis Lincoln turned it up a notch, I think, Art, and they want to protect that state championship.
I guess LaSalle Peru is the power-up in your neck of the woods, and they had a few injuries and a few problems late.
They had a fine ball club, Art. They had a very good season, and they played Rock Island very well for a half in the sectionals.
You got them a couple of times, though, didn't you, this year?
Well, we were lucky.
Yeah, well, that's a great rivalry. People that have never lived in the area don't realize, but Ottawa and LaSalle Peru is a legendary rivalry. Gary, it's always good to see you. Good luck to you.
Well, thanks very much, Art. My pleasure.
Nice to have you with us. Gary Vansel, head basketball coach at Ottawa. Now to the bench, and Frank Bassoni.
Thank you very much, Art. And we're getting set for our fourth semifinal game. It's Rock Island, the Rocks, Peoria Central Lions, and let's look how they compare. You look at the field goals, 52% for the Lions and 49. Look at the attempts within one for the season, 15-34, 15-33, amazing. Free throws almost identical, and rebounds very close too. These two teams have played before this year. Of course, the coaches would tell you both throw it out, but Central won the game 76-57. But Chuck Bisher would be the first to tell you that's when Central was at the top of their game. Chris Reynolds since has been hurt, and he said that Central hasn't reached the sink that they had then. And you can tell at the end of 3/4 of that game, it was 57-29, and the Lions had really gotten rid of the Rocks. But Duncan Reed's teams have done that before. They've played games earlier in the year, and then they've come back and showed a lot more late.
Well, it's exactly the case. You know, we played Rock Island in Jacksonville on January the 6th. Had a 3-point game, a game decided at the buzzer. They won it. And I saw them later in the year, and they beat a very good Quincy ball club on Quincy's home court rather easily. This ball club of Rock Island has gotten better over the last month.
You'll really enjoy, if you're watching these teams for the first time, the point guard play tonight. Donnie Allison of Rock Island is just a human floor burn, and Chris Reynolds a jet at the other point.
Frank, Allison youngster is one of the few kids that cannot score and yet be a great contributor in your ballgame.
I'm not sure he's not their most valuable player, and he doesn't score.
In many aspects he is. He's a leader.
Well, I'll tell you, we're all set now to meet the players in this game, and for that, at the public address is Steve Adams.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing the coaches and players for this afternoon's second semifinal game, featuring the Rock Island Rocks and the Peoria Central Lions. First, introducing the Rocks of Rock Island High School, entering this game with a record of 27-4. Here is the head coach in his 9th season at Rock Island, Duncan Reed. Assistant coaches Mike Brown and Jim Condon. And now the players. Number 20, a 6-foot junior, Wayne Meyer. Number 22, a 6-foot senior, Rick Kelly. Number 25, a 6'1 senior, Sean McMillan. Number 30, a 6'1 junior, Jack Anderson. Number 33, a 6'4 senior, Scott Small. Number 34, a 6'3 junior, Ed Vesey. And 52, a 6'8 senior, Lamont Wortham. And now here is the starting lineup. At one forward, a 6'4 junior, 44, Shane McGahee. At the other forward, a 6'3 sophomore, 24, Tony Pulliam. At center, a 6'9 senior, 45, Brian Jones. At guard, a 5'8 junior, number 14, Chris Allison. And at the other guard, a 6-foot junior, number 23, Donnie White. The Rocks of Rock Island High School. And now introducing the Lions of Peoria Central High School, who enter this game with a record of 31-0. Here is the head coach in his 10th season, Chuck Bisher. Assistant coaches, John Long, Bob Darling, and Mike Plunkett. And now the players, number 10, a 5'6 sophomore, Lamont Thomas. Number 11, a 5'11 sophomore, John Seckler. Number 21, a 5'10 sophomore, Marcus Albert. Number 24, a 6-foot sophomore, Tremaine Coleman. Number 25, 6'5½" and a junior, Courtney Saison. Number 31, a 6'3 junior, Anthony Cotton. and number 55, a 6-foot senior Larry Burnett. And here is the starting lineup for Peoria Central at one forward. A 6'1 senior, number 14, Charles White. At the other forward, a 6'3 senior, 44, Tyrone Howard. At center, 6'6 and a senior, 34, Mike Hughes. At one guard, a 5'10 sophomore, number 15, Mike Kirksey. And the other guard is a 6'1 senior, number 20, Chris Reynolds. Those are the Lions of Peoria Central High School. And now introducing the officials, John Hornacek of LaGrange and Bo Paprocki of Arlington Heights.
Peoria Central, Rock Island coming up. Now this from one of your network sponsors, John Deere. The tallest player in this game will be Brian Jones, the Rock Island center, who goes 6'9". They have 6'8" Lamont Wortham on the bench. Hughes in the middle for the Lions is 6'6", but he'll play outside as well. Allison is going to jump center at 5'8". For Rock Island. He'll give this tip up.
Duncan's just making a statement here. And the statement is, let's have some fun. Let's have some fun right here.
And let's play some defense to start the game.
That's right.
He went for a steal, too. Peoria Central in the white. And the Rocks in their crimson trimmed in gold. Kirksey, right wing. The Lions start zone. The Rocks get the first rebound. Shane McGahee. There's some discussion as to how to pronounce his name. He says McGahee will be fine.
He knows.
Sort of a 3-2 look by Peoria Central.
Popular defense used by the Lions, the 3-2 zone.
Donnie Allison, 14 on the point. Donnie White on the wing for the Rocks. They got here past Boylan and New Trier. They're taking their time. They don't mind taking time off this clock, shortening the game.
Frank, this game may be played with a little more tactical strategy in terms of slower tempo than the earlier contests.
Allison steps in. Howard is outside. There's Jones with a shot that doesn't go, and the rebound comes to Chris Reynolds. He can penetrate. Reynolds stops at the foul line for the pop that doesn't go. By the way, Reynolds chipped 2 teeth last night. He had them capped, and by 10:30, he was munching a pizza.
I imagine he got special attention right away.
No score. One of these teams will play East St. Louis Lincoln for the state championship tonight. You'll really enjoy watching Chris Allison if you haven't seen him play. He scrambles everywhere. Pulliam comes outside to join him. He's but a sophomore. McGahee goes in. Charging. Good defensive position by Charles White.
Very good defensive position by White, and I think you'll also see the nose of the 3-2 zone by Central sagged off, kind of challenging Chris Allison to take that shot, Frank.
Allison does not shoot a lot, but he shot 57% from the field on the season, and he can shoot a 3. Couple minutes gone by without a score. Might be a triangle and 2 some by. Fact is, that might be what this is here on Hughes and Reynolds. Rebound to Jones. The Rocks can throw a junk defense at you.
Oh, yeah. They'll mix their defenses, too. And that time down the floor, they had a little junk defense, a little triangle and 2. Reynolds and being guarded man-to-man along with Hughes.
McGahee flashes the post. Jones steps in, puts it up and in.
Jones has really developed as a ball player. Last year, he was probably, what, their 6th man on their ball club, and he's really coming along. Here you see him make a little head fake, shoulder fake, and he dips down, comes around. Nice crossover move.
I thought Jones played with a lot more fire in the second half last night, and he hit some key free throws.
Good observation, Frank. He did indeed.
He knocks in a 3-point play to start Rock Island.
This ball club needs senior leadership. It's a relatively young ball club.
You bet. He's the only senior that starts for this team.
A little triangle and 2 here, man-to-man with on Hughes and on Chris Reynolds.
Kirksey is 15. And that's Charles White. He goes baseline. Howard steps in, and he's hammered. Brian Jones picked it up.
And the triangle, too, for our listeners, what the defensive attitude is stating is that we feel that there's 2 ball players on your team that can really do us a lot of damage if they have the ball in their hands much. In this situation, Reynolds and Hughes. So we're going to put a man for man on each one of them. And then we're going to play a little triangle defense with the other 3, triangle zone, if you will, and make somebody else hurt us. So that's the approach that the defense is taking.
Tyrone Howard gets Peoria Central on the board. He had 14 in the quarterfinals, and his shooting was one of the reasons they're here.
It certainly was. He really came to the front there for them in that ball game.
He hit a pair, and now will Central pressure. Can Wade Boggs hit? Allison rushes it up. He'd be a tough guy to pressure all night. Right now it's still zone. It's 3-2 by the Lions, and they're packed in.
Really packed in. They might want to bring Pulliam or somebody out front to the top of the key where they're giving Allison that shot and see if they can get the shot off.
The Lions started with a rip against the Rocks the last time and led 22-10 at the quarter. Lower scoring now as Jones goes inside for 2, and using his 6'9" frame, he has all 5. Quickly to the other end. Neither Reynolds nor Hughes has had a shot. The Lions 2 All-Americans. Mike Hughes slapped away from him. He got in double team territory.
That's what happens in that triangle, too. You drive by your man, the guy that's guarding you man-to-man, you dribble into that zone coverage.
Donnie White stays well away from the basket, and Pulliam comes out also. Now watch Jones go into the box slow. Now he comes up.
And they're playing a 1-4. Man.
Nice little pass to Jones. Ball fake and move. Allison inside. Missed it.
That time down the floor, Peoria Central matched up man for man.
Chris Reynolds pulls up. Hughes caught it. Now he fires. Yes. Mike Hughes makes it a 5-4 Rocky lead. 3:55 first quarter.
You got to go man-to-man to get your own offense going, to create a little faster tempo, and that's what Bisher's doing right now with the Central ball player.
Here's a lob inside. Nice try. Pulliam couldn't get it down. The Lions try to up-tempo the game. Reynolds, tricky dribble. Howard kicks it out. Hughes will shoot. Good again.
Kid's a great perimeter shooter. It's fantastic.
He has wonderful range, and the Lions get their first lead by 1. This is man-to-man. They overplay the passing lanes. McGahee. The Rocks can handle this. They handle the ball pretty well. Pulliam, he's got some speed. Nice pick by Allison.
Good pick. In that 1-4 set, you try to get somebody going back door, maybe putting a little bit too much pressure on the wing, overplaying, and get back door. That time, Allison just comes up and sets a blind pick on the backside. And the only hope that the defense has there is somebody's talking to their teammate saying, pick, 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 so he doesn't run over it.
Allison walked by me a little while ago, and his body looks like he's been, caught in a revolving door. The shot is too long, but Jones is there, and he's been a force in the first quarter with 7.
Yes, he has. Johnny on the spot.
He has all 7 Rock Island points. We just saw a beauty as East St. Louis Lincoln down King. Now Peoria Central tries to protect their perfect record. Jones blocked it, but fouled. And one of the things Duncan Reed talks about is he doesn't play the 2 big guys a lot together because he looks up and they all have 2 or 3 fouls.
Yeah. And he protects himself with bringing Lamont Wortham off of the bench. And that's a great luxury to have. Most of us would be foolish enough to play 2 6'8" kids at one time.
I know one game, Rock Island and Quincy this year was the worst Western Big 6 home loss ever for Quincy. It was 70-45.
I saw that ball game. I was scouting there that night in preparation and anticipation of playing Quincy in the regional tournament, which did not happen. But I saw that game, and they beat a fine Quincy ball club. They were just incredible that evening.
Howard knocks in a free throw, would tie the game, and we have timeout with 2:39 to play in our semifinal and tie. Let's take time out from one of your network sponsors, the Illinois Pork Producers. Part of the house at the Assembly Hall, and Rock Island brings a sea of red with them wherever they play.
The band from Barrington accommodated them with the theme from Rocky, too.
And that's how they feel. They play this one. Field goals early. 3 of 7 for Rock Island. 2 of 5 for the Lions. Look at the pressure. Allison and Reynolds. That's a matchup we talked about. Allison beat him that time. Tries to penetrate. Jones comes out. Jones threw it up and in.
Not going to count it. Not going to count it. Got the foul earlier. Let's see here. Of course, you won't be able to hear the whistle, but the foul is there long before. I think it's a good call.
He was almost behind the bank board, used a little English, and knocked it down. But it doesn't count, but the Rocks hold the ball. 2:25 to play, opening period. Jones into McGahee. He's there. Oh, Mike Hughes tipped the ball and it went in the basket.
I think so.
I don't know who they'll give that to.
Give it to McGahee.
McGahee gets it, but Hughes actually tipped that ball in. Rock Island by a deuce. Hughes swirls. And a foul. Trying to guard him.
Tony Pulliam got some of Michael Hughes. Michael Hughes is becoming very active on the perimeter now with the ball.
Pulliam, a sophomore. Just 16 years old, quite an athlete.
He's the best athlete on the Rock Island Ball Club, Frank.
Big things expected from him. Charles White with a ball fake. Now he comes into the lane. Tipped by Howard, and Brian Jones continues to play well. Pressure at half court. White goes against Kirksey. They go into Jones. Watch him shoot. Can't hit. McGahee horses the boards. He got fouled first. He plowed in there.
In their man-to-man defense, Peoria Central is allowing Brian Jones to catch and making him shoot over Michael Hughes' outstretched arms. And of course, in that situation, you got to be careful that Jones doesn't heat up. And at the same time, McGahee's horsing on that weak side board, Frank.
Kirksey goes out. The Lions get more size in. 6'5.5". Courtney Saison checks in 25. Saison may help on the inside against McGahee and Jones. The Rocks run the play. Donnie White. He bounces to the left. Ooh, Hughes pulled down the rebound. Lions try to tie the game. Reynolds, stop and pop.
Chris Reynolds, a very unselfish ball player, very seldom looks for his own offense before he tries to set the table for other people. But that time he had it and stroked it down.
Another lob to Jones, triple team. He found McGahee. Nice recognition.
He did. He understood right away that he had a double team on him from the backside and the triple team coming down from the front side. So he knew somebody was open on the weak side, and he delivered.
I can't imagine he's played a better quarter this year.
Looks very confident and very poised.
Yesterday did wonders for him. And here's Howard trying to answer, can't do it.
He made those shots yesterday, Frank.
Pulliam snares it. Allison walks it up. Look at him check with the coach.
I want to make a comment here about Allison while he's bringing the ball before. Hopefully there's a young kid, a small young kid watching this ball game this afternoon. Focus on this Chris Allison, because the value of what he gives this ball club is just untold. It's amazing. So a little guy can play the game if he can do the little things.
Jay Burson, one of the things Gary Wheatley, our director, mentions, and really there is a comparison there. McGahee goes down to the lane. It's a long home. Donnie White for 3. And the Rocks by 5. The Lions should get a shot with 11 seconds. Hughes does it. Michael Hughes with 2 with 4 seconds. Rock Island has a chance. Not that way. Well, the difference is major at the end of 1 quarter. The Rocks in the lead by 3. Now let's pause for these messages. A 3-point Rock Island lead. At the end of the first quarter of the game they played before, it was 12 for Central. Look at this,
Frank. This is good post play. You got to feel this situation. He feels the triple team. He knows there's somebody open on the weak side, and Brian Jones does an excellent job of dumping the ball down to Scott McGahee for the easy 2 points.
Impressive shooting. Rock Island with 43%. Jones did a lot of that damage inside. Peoria Central still hasn't shot a real hot run here yet.
Both ball clubs will heat up, I think, better shooting-wise. They're just feeling one another out in that first 8 minutes.
Lions start man-to-man second quarter, and they get the turnover.
That's got to be a cue type of play. You got to decide. If Pulliam's going to go back door, he has to go back door. He can't stutter step and come out because Allison's committed.
It's still triangle 2 time for the Rocks.
Chris Allison on
White.
Chris Reynolds
Flashed into the lane, got the ball, pulled the Lions within 1. Charles White is an explosive jumper, and he can play well inside.
That's why it's
There's that play again. Pulliam got it this time. Double team shot doesn't go.
That's why it's so difficult to triangle in 2, I think, Peoria Central, because White is such a good offensive player, Frank.
They've lobbed the ball to him for some dunks over the season.
Oh, yes.
Here's a 3 try by White.
There you go now. See, he's not being defended man for man, and he's out away from the triangle. And if he heats up and does that, Duncan has no alternative but to come out of the junk defense and go with something else.
5 in a row for Charles White. Gives the Lions the lead. Donnie White slides between a couple of people. Now Pulliam on the move. White out here playing D. Saison did come in and guard McGahee. Let's see if the Rocks find Jones again. Hughes trying to check him. Defense is strong.
5 second count, I assume there.
Central got after him on defense.
Yeah, and Central can do that. You're allowed to hold the ball for 5 seconds closely guarded, or dribble the ball for 5 seconds closely guarded, and if you do that and it hits 5, you lose possession.
6:28 to play in this first half. Hughes pulls up and a slap away. Donnie White thought he got all ball, and Duncan Reed applauds him. White's got quickness.
2 shots on that. Surprised me. He really wasn't in the act of shooting, was he?
I didn't think he was going to load up, but he wasn't yet. Hughes averages 21 points a game and 9 rebounds.
You look at the Central Ball Club, and so many people talk about the 2 Parade Magazine All-Americans and Michael Hughes and Chris Reynolds. You see it right here, the reach-in on Michael Hughes by Donnie White. He may have had a lot of ball there in that situation. But there's other ball players on the team. Howard and White are 2 outstanding ball players who have made contributions to Central this year.
And they play both ends of the floor. Defensively, they're strong, quick. They can contribute on the offense. Nice pass into McGahee. Finds Jones. Jones is stripped, but it's out of bounds to the Rocks. Good interior passing by Rock Island.
Good execution in their man-to-man offense. Very good. McGahee coming around the angle, caught the ball, looked to dump down to Brian Jones's man.
Don Nelson played at Rock Island years back. There's a fake in that area, the NBA. Look at Allison. Run a shuffle. 5:50. Rock Island staying right there. Trying to punch the ball inside that time to Pulliam.
Again, half-court offense by Rock Island, very patiently executed and well executed.
Jones fell down, and he was helped.
He may have hurt his ankle, Frank.
Let's hope not. He's going to get up and walk that off if he can. Landed on that foot. You can see him trying to shake it off.
He goes up to catch right here. Comes down. He probably came down on a defender's ankle or foot and twisted his a little bit. He appears to be rather frail, but I think he's much stronger than he looks.
I know he's hard-nosed.
Yes, he is.
Stayed in the game yesterday, and again, he led their burst at the start of this game. There are his numbers.
You talked about that eye-popping victory that the Rocks had at Quincy. Brian Jones and Anthony Pulliam put on a clinic that evening. They were outstanding.
Lamont Wortham gets off the bench, and he'll undoubtedly give Jones a chance to check that ankle.
It's a wonderful luxury.
A 6'8" and a 200-pounder checks in the lineup.
Trade 6'8" for 6'8".
And I'm sure they'll. Duncan Regis pointed at the dressing room. I think they want him to wrap that ankle, and Jones goes down. Peoria in the lead by 2. You see Jones moving.
Still a triangle and 2 defense.
Reynolds, who hasn't handled the ball a lot, comparatively speaking, in this game.
Right. Donnie White's keeping the ball out of his, or Allison's keeping the ball out of his hands.
Hughes double pump. Nice rebound, Shane McGahee.
Against that triangle, they're going to have to get the ball into White's hands a little bit more, since Reynolds and Hughes are being dogged man to man. White is going to be open. They need to get the ball to him.
Chris Allison playing way out in the middle. Rock Island showing lots of patience. They want this game more down-tempo than the Lions do. Under 5 minutes in the first half. 3-2 zone set. Reynolds anticipated that pass and went out and got the ball, but a foul.
He did. He just couldn't get out of the way of bumping into Allison, and it would have been a great athletic play had he been able to tip it in the back court.
Chris Reynolds, 6'1" senior.
This is anticipation. And Lamont Wortham made the pass, and he anticipated so well, Reynolds, but he just bumped into Allison.
One of the reasons that he's good enough to play in the Big Ten, he'll be at Indiana.
He's just super anticipated, great athlete. Seems to be a very coachable young man.
Well, Chuck Fisher just can't say enough about him. He says he has a charisma, and he just has refused to let his team lose a few times this year. Allison knocks in the free throw, and he could tie it now.
Speaking of Coach Fisher, I think he tends to allow you to play the game a little closer to your chest the first half, and if he's not in foul trouble, he turns up the heat a little bit the second half.
He's not as long on the bench as some of the teams are in the league.
Exactly right. That's the reason for that approach.
Charles White tries the 3. Going for the rebound, stays zone on the floor. Nice work by the Rocks. White in a burst. They get the ball down the court in a hurry, and then they set up. Duncan Reed. What a record. Lincoln High School, twice 30-1. Then he went to the University of Kansas to be an assistant. Then at Dodge City, there's McGahee. Howard rebounds. He's 9 years now at Rocky. Reynolds with 4 minutes. First half, his team up by 1.
Hughes and Charles White are going to have to take those jumpers.
Central trying to get some movement away from the ball. Say zone, shoots rarely, does this time. White tips it in.
I said Hughes and Joe Howard and Charles White are going to have to take those uncontested jump shots.
Example there of White's quick jumping ability. Tap 2 home. Rock Island shot 17 threes the first time these two teams played, made 5. And they showed that capability yesterday of knocking in some threes. Pulliam.
Central switched back into their man-to-man, put a little more heat on it in the last 3 minutes of the quarter here.
Lamont Wortham gets his first try. It's down.
Lamont Wortham posted up Michael Hughes and went over the top and scored.
A bundle of performance out of the center position for Rock Island. Baseline Howard. Crowd thought he walked. Allison picks it away.
Well, the biggest thing is Howard tried to create something too quickly and needed to reverse the ball a little bit here.
There's your instructions, and there's the man who'll carry him out. Allison with a great bounce pass to White for a layup.
Guy ought to get 4 assists credit to do his record there on that pass. Perfectly executed bounce pass back door.
Rock Island regains the lead. And they set the defense again. Howard all alone.
Defense remains to be that triangle and 2. 2 men man for man, 3 other guys in a triangle zone. And it's frustrated Central, Frank.
Hughes pull-up one-hander is there. Mike Hughes puts the Lions back on top.
There's some clutch ball players in this tournament. Gonzo Martin, Michael Hughes, Jamie Brandon.
Skip pass. Wortham tries to give it back to Allison. The Lions have it. Howard will try to give it up. They looked for Reynolds and couldn't find him. He found White instead. Baseline. Charles missed and a foul.
Duncan Reed is missing the play of Brian Jones in there right now. He's a little bit more steady with the ball than is Lamont Wortham.
1:43 to play in the first half of this game. And we've had nothing but close games since the opener of this tournament.
Well, I can't remember a tournament when you've had such exciting, closely contested ball games as we've had since that opening game.
Lincoln took out Aurora at the buzzer by 2. The Lions beat Bloom by 1. Rocky just got by New Trier. 5. And earlier today, Lincoln edged King by 3. Charles White in the lead. The Lions with timeout, 1:43 to play in the first half. Let's take timeout for one of your network sponsors, John Deere.
I can't believe it.
He's upset at Lamont.
Save this for your coaching film.
Oh, Frank, you know, we said earlier that a little guy can play the game of basketball if he's a floor leader, gutty ball player. And there's a beautifully executed backdoor bounce pass by Chris Allison. And he's worth his weight in gold to this Rock Island ball club.
Field goal percentage warms up a little bit. Almost exactly even, one shot difference.
It'll heat up even more. This is a good shooting ball clubs on the floor here.
Central puts pressure on the full court. It's a trap. And Rock Island breaks it. Rockies 3 down, minute 30 to play first half.
Central with a 3-point lead is going to pack in a little bit in their 3-2 zone. Make Rock Island do something from the outside.
I'd say overall Duncan Reed's been pretty satisfied with this half of play.
I think you're right. I think the only thing that's concerning him right now is the availability of Brian Jones the second half, who went down with the ankle injury.
And he did go into the dressing room, has not returned. Obviously won't play until the second half. We hope he can play then.
It didn't appear to be that serious, but you never know about those things.
Allison still dances with the ball. 55 seconds. Are they going for one?
Well, I think they'd be very happy to go in trailing by 3, tied with a 3-point shot, or down by 1. Yeah, I think they're going to go for one inside 40 seconds right now.
Man with the ball, Donnie White has made 46 threes.
Central knows it, and they're going to match up a little bit man for man, and Reynolds picked up, I think, his 3rd foul.
That's
bad news for Central.
Big play in the game. Chris Reynolds' 3rd foul comes about 45 feet from the basket, and
he's got to come out.
He comes out, and Kirksey comes in. Remember that play.
Yeah, remember that play, because that could weigh heavily on the outcome of this ball game down the end of the line. And I really, well, that's a tough foul to pick up. Certainly wasn't much bumping there, was there?
Chuck Fisher's reaction, he went backwards in that chair big time.
Well, you know, you hate to see anybody get a ticky foul on him, and certainly a quality ball player.
Donnie White got 1 of 2. Central got the ball, and Kirksey will go to the point. So Chris Reynolds sits with 3. Now the spread, and the Lions will probably go for 1.
Sure. They're happy to go in with a 2-point lead, especially with their leader on the bench with 3 fouls. They may score here on the last second.
Best bet is Charles White or Mike Hughes for the shot. Hughes would be option 1. There he is. It's a 3. It's good.
With 6 seconds, he nailed that baby.
And Rocky's not going to get a shot. Mike Hughes' 3 paints the picture to end halftime. The Lions in the lead by 5. We'll be back after this from the Country Companies, proud sponsors of the IHSA telecast since 1972. In the second quarter, the Lions outscored the Rocks 16-8, and that's the reason they've overcome their first quarter deficit, and they've taken the lead. And Coach Mel Rustio, talk about the changing of the defenses in the first half of this game.
Well, Rock Island Rocks have stayed pretty much with the triangle and 2, putting a man-to-man on both Chris Reynolds and Michael Hughes, trying to keep the ball out of their hands as often as possible. On the other end of the floor, you've had Peoria Central mixing their defenses a little bit, going with some man-to-man pressure pressure at times, and also packing in their 3-2 zone defense, forcing maybe Allison to take a shot outside, which he's reluctant to do. I think the big story right now is the availability of Jones the second half, Frank.
It is. Jones went down with an ankle injury, and he's playing extremely well. He's the 6'9" center of the Rocks. Right here, you'll see it.
He was catching an outlet pass there, and he came down. It looked like on the foot of a defender from center, only twisted his ankle. Didn't appear to be that badly at the sprain at the time, but you never know about those things. But his availability and Chris Reynolds' foul situation could be a serious thing down the end.
Very key item is Reynolds picked up that third foul way out on the court, flashing at the ball with his quickness, and that cost him that time, that third foul. Those are two very key performers in the game. Will Duncan Reed get out of that triangle in 2? And if he does, what'll he go to?
I think he'll get out of it only if somebody else heats up and starts hurting him, and then somebody else has to be a Charles White or a Howard that would hurt him. But I think he's got to be happy. It's the kind of ball game and tempo that he wanted against Peoria Central. So he may stay in this until one of those other youngsters heat up a little bit.
One thing about Hughes, he gives you that three-point weapon. And, you know, you take a look at what he can do, and his confidence on the range is remarkable.
He gets a kick out here from the post and then down on the baseline. He pulls up, and he's got such excellent range, and he can see over the defender so well. Great release on his shot. A money man for Peoria Central, as is Conzo Martin for East St. Louis Lincoln.
Peoria Central in the lead, and they're 31-0 over Rock Island. Right now, we're set to go to the court. It's Art Kimball.
We're talking about you, Frank, out here, and I have two very distinguished guests with me. The two principals of the high schools currently involved, Dick Green from Peoria Central and Dwayne Bonsall from Rock Island. I guess, Dwayne, you're the veteran. You've been through this a few times as a principal. Dick's in his first year at Central, or have you?
This year I'm acting principal at Rock Island High School. John Murphy left in July, so I was named acting principal for a year. So it's kind of a new experience for me.
Yeah, but Rock Island's been here, and of course you've been in the faculty.
Right. We've enjoyed it in years past, and we're looking forward to good things this year.
Dick, did they tell you this is going to happen when you took the position of Peoria Central?
Well, no, nothing was guaranteed, that's for sure. But, Art, I'm absolutely delighted. What a nice benefit, not only for our school, but for the community. Just terrific.
I know you were very excited yesterday. You grabbed me on the floor after that win over Bloom. You fellas don't do anything easy, do you?
Oh, boy, no. Nothing comes easy, that's for sure. All the teams play well in the tournament, and got to be lucky and good. No question about it.
Dwayne, what does this do to the high school over at Rock Island when you make it this far? Do things just completely go bananas? Is it all basketball?
There are some days you wonder if we're really educating students when you're trying to get tickets out and buses arranged and everything. But it's good for the camaraderie of all of the students and staff and the community. It brings them all together.
Yeah, nothing like high school athletics to unify a community. You're both from big towns. Dick, the same thing happens in Peoria, doesn't it?
No question about it. The unity of Peoria as a whole. Yeah. We have people here today, just aren't Central fans, of course, but all the other high schools, too. And we're delighted to see them here today.
Okay, what's going to happen in the second half? The Lions have a 27-22 lead over the Rocks. You going to hold it, Dick?
Are we going to hold it?
Yeah.
No, we're not going to hold the ball.
No, I mean the lead.
We hope so. We hope so. We think if our shots go in for us and we keep Chris Reynolds in the game, well, we should be all right. But we're hoping for the best.
Wayne, it looks to me like the Rocks are playing their best basketball at the right time this season.
This is a crucial game for us, obviously, but they have played well so far. We have to make a couple of those easy layups that we missed. Would really have gotten us right in the ball game.
Get the big guy's ankle taped up and get him back in there, too.
Right. He was doing a nice job for us in there, Brian Jones, so we're looking forward to getting him back.
Okay, now you fellas set a good example for your students the second half, and enjoy the ball game, will you?
We'll do that, Art. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Art. I talked to you.
Fellas, nice to have you with us. Dwayne Bonsall from Rock Island, Dick Green from Peoria Central. And now let's take time out for one of your network sponsors, the Illinois Pork Producers.
We talk a lot about shooting, but the art of passing.
Setting the table for the big guys, as they say. And Donnie Allison does it with a perfectly executed backdoor bounce pass to Tony Pulling, and just a super executed play.
The numbers in the first half reflect the fact that the Lions hit half their field goals, and they took exactly the same number of shots as Rocky. Peoria's improved their free throwing quite a little bit.
Well, it's a close ball game in stats, and it's a close ball game on the scoreboard. And again, you know, the second half, there's so many ifs. If a Chris Reynolds can stay in the ball game and stay out of foul trouble, is a big concern of Coach Chuck Fisher. And certainly Rock Island coming out on the floor, and we don't see Brian Jones out there, so we got to be concerned that maybe he's done for the afternoon.
Brian Jones had a fine first half.
Yeah, and that's got to be a real concern of Coach Duncan Reed.
There's his 9 points and 2 fouls, and the fouls aren't the reason. It's the ankle he went out. Of course, right. White with 6, McGahee with 4. Peoria Central was led by their leading scorer, Mike Hughes, 13 points. Charles White, who averages 15.5, put home 9. The foul trouble is not reflected there because it's their All-American point guard, Chris Reynolds, that has the 3 fouls for the Lions, as you see the mascots enjoying.
They had some fun at halftime, didn't they, Frank?
Oh, they dance, they fight, they do everything. These are traditional rivals, and
that's great.
The color and excitement of high school basketball. We'll have that second half for you in just a moment. Now let's pause for these messages. Scott Small, 6'4" senior, is going to start the second half for Rock Island because Brian Jones isn't quite ready to go from taping that ankle yet, but they anticipate he'll be back out here.
Chatted with Duncan Reed just momentarily, and he said they're taping it, and he expects him to play this second half. So for Rock Island fans, that's good news if Jones is mobile.
There's Chris Reynolds with 3 fouls, and you see, if you saw last night's game, his teeth have been capped. He had those chips in the front, kind of a V, but he's fine. And he's playing with 3 fouls, and that's something that Coach Bisher's holding his breath on, I'm sure.
He also plays with a brace because of that shoulder, does he not, Frank?
Yeah, he's got a kind of harness or holds that shoulder that he had separated earlier. And he starts with the ball. One of these teams goes to the Final Four.
Kids get hurt in this non-contact sport, don't they?
Kirksey looks in. Non-contact, eh? Hughes.
The Rock Island came right back out in that triangle and 2 defense.
In case you didn't see it, East St. Louis Lincoln will gun tonight for an unprecedented 3rd consecutive state championship. They disposed of Chicago King in a great game. Pulliam out with Allison. Allison tries. Yes.
Allison's got to step up and take that shot, Frank. Central's in that 3-2 collapsing type of zone, and they're giving Allison, daring him, and he stepped up and got the 2.
He has 3. The Rocks have first blood, second half. Chris Reynolds tries to answer. Off balance, rebound Howard. Left-hander on the baseline. Reynolds got it back for an easy one.
Good box-out move by Shaw, and yet he couldn't convert. He lost the ball, and Reynolds got the easy offensive rebound basket.
McCartney Saison bounces off the Lion bench. He's played a lot. He's played for Kirksey principally, giving the Lions more size. Scott Small is 33. He's in the game for the first time. He's playing for Jones. That was a nice little move along the baseline for Donnie White, but he couldn't get the shot down. And a foul on the Peoria Lions, Kirksey. Kirksey, a sophomore. Checks out. Saison.
The applause you hear is the return to the floor of Brian Jones for the Rock Island Rocks, and certainly he'll be in the game momentarily.
Oh, here's a nice steal by Charles White. Ahead of the pack is Chris Reynolds. Brian Jones back on the bench. He watched Reynolds get his 6th point. And it's a 7-point Lion lead.
Central's back in their 3-2 zone defense. I think you'd see him out in a man-to-man in the second half if Chris Reynolds did not have the 3 fouls.
Allison hit an outside shot to start this half, and Central quickly answered. Duncan Reed had this lineup in yesterday when they pressured New Trier and made a little run.
Made a comeback. That's exactly right. Good call by the official, John Harnasek. Chris Reynolds deflected the ball, and it went off of Donnie White's hand, out of bounds. Peoria will inbound.
And don't miss people's defensive skills. Reynolds just turned that over.
Reynolds and White both get out in the passing lane so well defensively.
A couple bodies go to the deck. White looks inside. Central trying to
solve that triangle in 2, trying to get some ball movement. Reynolds being dogged man for man by Allison.
Got White on one side of Hughes and McGahee on the other. Anytime he gets close. Now Jones gets off the bench. The big factor in the game. He's at 6. He goes 6'9", 193.
Charles White's the guy that's going to can free up and get some shots against this triangle and 2 defense.
Howard alone out on the court, comes in and tries the jumper. Yes. Tyrone Howard gives Peoria its biggest advantage. And Rock Island says timeout at 4:45 to play. A little roll by the Lions, and we'll be right back. Right after this, from one of your network sponsors, John Deere. This evening, we'll be back on the air with before the tip-off, starting at 6 o'clock. Then we'll have the third-place game, and Chicago King will play in that one against the loser in this one. East St. Louis Lincoln will wait in the wings to play in the championship game. And you know, when you play against King, some people ask coaches, do you have a chance? Somebody asked Benny Lewis that today. I know how Valvano at North Carolina State answered it once. He said, sure, we had a chance. We're the only other team on the floor.
That's right. Nobody else is there.
And Lincoln had more of a chance, more than a chance. They won the game.
Brian Jones back in the ball game for Rock Island, and of course the time he was out saw his Rocks lose a lead, and they're down 9 right now.
Well, he'll be a factor if they make a comeback. McGahee gets free, and he bounces it off. Jones is there, and the Lions come away with it. Reynolds sprints up. The Lions show a little patience and kick it out. They open the floor up. Howard tries to go in. A little pop that doesn't go. And a foul against Peoria. Looks like it's on White.
It's on White over the back. And in that triangle, going against that triangle too, Howard and White are the ones that are open for these jumpers right there, because they're not being defended. I guess it was White that they felt was a little over-aggressive there on the rebound effort. Chuck Fisher's pleading a case for Charles White.
As the officials go by, they get to listen a little bit.
Yeah, they get paid so well.
Yeah. Does the nipping ever get you the next call?
Oh, I don't know. They say it does, but I better not comment on that.
Right. McGahee goes in the lane. He turns, kind of threw it up there, and the Lions have it. Still 33-24. Reynolds pulls up at the foul line. Donnie White streaks down to the left. He went up. Hughes tipped the ball away from him. Pulliam grabbed it. Pulliam's a guy that could open up in the game a little
Pulliam's the best athlete for the Rocks, and he could loosen up any time, and he's going to have to.
Nice second effort by Jones. He stripped, ball on the deck.
I got a kick out of Donnie Allison. He was running the outside lane on that fast break and was pointing to the rim as if to say, throw me a lob. He's got a heart as big as this Coliseum and confidence to go along with it.
That man says Allison deserves a medal every night. They list him at 5'8". That might be generous.
Yeah, oh, I think it is. I don't think he's any bigger than 5'7", 5'6.5" maybe.
McGahee turns in, and that's having a nose for the basket. He
Yes,
just turned to the basket. He was going inside, and Hughes didn't care for the call particularly.
Well, you got to create some things. He's going to catch down here. McGahee's a big, strong kid. He catches. Hughes lets him catch, and now McGahee comes in and makes a little crossover move, and they call a foul on Hughes, and Hughes says, me?
It might have been one of his teammates.
Yeah, it may have been, and again, there may not have been any foul at all. But I think the officials want to keep in control of this particular ball game.
Efficient foul shooting, McGahee 71%. That's a nice-looking quarterfinal game.
Kid's a good shooter. I thought he might even score a little bit more for Rock Island this year, but of course there's some other capable scorers on that ball club.
Puts him down. It's a 7-point game, and again, after the first blowout, we've had anybody's game every time.
Just you couldn't have staged a better tournament, Frank, after that first game. They've all been just great textbook games since then.
Here's Central's corners.
Central likes to do this with a lot of time left in a quarter. 2:37 at this particular time. They spread the floor. They'll bring Rock Island out. They'll be patient, try to get a good shot.
Well, and they've got a lot of quickness on their team, and that's an advantage for them in this. Reynolds is so quick with the ball.
He constantly looks at those seams and tries to test them.
Everybody likes a guy that makes other players better. He's one.
There you go. He creates, gets fouled. He's going to go to the line and shoot 2. What an athlete. What a smart, heady guard. Check it out here. He's going to check the seam of the defense. He forces the issue. He comes inside. He draws 3 ball players. He gets fouled.
Like Donnie White got him with the left hand.
No, he's just a very smart, intelligent basketball player.
Duncan Reed gave Reynolds a lot of credit for being able to destroy them in the first game they played. He said it was because we couldn't stop Reynolds' penetration.
Yeah. And a lot of people haven't been able to do that this year. There have been 30 teams that have gone out, 31 and can't do it. Heard a lot of conversation. I asked you the question, you can think about it. Can this kid make a contribution to Indiana's program as a freshman?
If he plays as a point guard, he'll have another spectacular shooter to kick it off to named Edward.
You got that right.
2 minutes. Bobby Knight liked that 3-guard offense this year with Hillman and Jones going along with Edwards.
I hear many people say that there's no question in their mind that Chris Reynolds will step in and make a contribution, and others are a little hesitant about giving him that mantle right away.
He might get some good defensive minutes. Here's that lob inside, down by Tony Pulliam. Nice play.
Big play for Rock Island too, especially that they can run and pull back in the ballgame within 6.
They might get that sophomore going too. That's his first deuce. The zone's really packed in there. They're just daring Howard and White to shoot the J. Inside Hughes, double team. He's going to try to get it off, and he got fouled. He stayed right with it.
There's this great thing about Michael Hughes, and you know, Chuck Fisher, if he elects to do so down the end of a game, you could use a Michael Hughes a la Conzo Martin, post him low, get him the ball, and he's just incredible athlete. He's difficult to stop.
3rd foul on Jones.
He flashes the lane, he catches so well, got great hands. He puts the ball on the floor, which is questionable, but he's got presence of mind to pick up and then force it right up right now and get fouled.
If he didn't walk, that was some fine double ball fake there.
Oh, yeah.
And Brian Jones fouled him, but Jones isn't showing any bad effects of that ankle. He's running all right.
I think he's okay. It's just amazing how the great ball clubs that can get down to this level of play have those money ball players, a la Conzo Martin, and of course this Central ball club has 2 of them, Reynolds and Hughes.
Chris Allison takes a look at the defense, steps into it. Jones has some range.
He can shoot out there.
He's got the light to do so.
Tony Pulliam's been silent, Frank, in this ball game, and they need an active, athletic Tony Pulliam in the contest.
There's a tough break for the Rocks. Jones just was ready to shoot. The ball slipped out of his hands. It's a 35-28 Central lead with 1 minute in the 3rd. 10 years for Chuck Fisher, 191 wins. He wants 1, and there's just under a minute to take care of the ball. Little trap now by the Rocks. Reynolds blows all the way down. He got 1 in a hurry.
He almost got 3 too. He almost converted the layup shot. Now he's going to go to the line with 2. Kid has just explosive acceleration. Watch him here when he just puts on the afterburners and got such a great stride and great elevation on his drive.
He had 22 against Manual in that sectional overtime win.
Central could be doing themselves a favor here if they'd convert on those first free throws.
He missed them both. Now Rock Island with a big chance. They could get within 5, and there's the motion from the court. 1. Central sits zone. Listen to that Rock Island crowd.
Rock Island will get into the ball game if it's close down the end of the line. You can bet on that. And that's a little bit of an advantage for a ball club. They know they've got some folks here. I'd kind of be happy to be only 5 down going into the 4th quarter and hopefully make a run at things then.
If they go inside, it'll be Jones. They take the long one, perhaps White.
Central is content to stay back, and I think they'll see him pressure a little bit here.
They'd like to shoot with about 4.
For Pulliam.
It's Pulliam. He missed. Jones has it with 2. He missed, and that'll kill off the 3rd quarter. 2 cracks for the Rocks. The Lions in the lead, but it's anybody's ball game with 8 minutes to go. We'll be back. Let's pause for these messages. And then there's 8 minutes.
I'll tell you, Frank, it's just been a beautiful tournament as far as fan excitement, as far as coaching strategy, and talented athletes performing the game of basketball.
Last year, Jovan McGarry of Evanston said, after they won their game to come down here, he said, the Elite Eight is a trip, and we're going to Disney World.
Well, it's been everything for anybody that gets turned on with high school basketball.
Rock Island's field goal percentage reflects Central's good defense, 26 shots apiece. Lions at 46%.
Rock Island's gotten out of their triangle a little bit to do a little trapping.
Hughes missed his first shot in the fourth. Nice play by Chris
Donnie Allison just wiped out press row over there. Chris Allison.
Yeah, he can drive a race car too.
He could drive a race car with him.
Jones. Brian Jones hits a deuce.
5-point ball game, and you're going to see Rock Island. Now they're back in their triangle and 2 again. They're back in their triangle 2 defense.
First points of the second half for Jones. He has 11. 5-point game. Hughes fake and go. Foul. Hughes is a handful on defense. You just don't know how to guard him.
No, you can't. It's difficult to guard him. He gets up so quickly on his jumper, and he's a big kid anyway at 6'6 and a half, 6'7". But they've done this before. Hughes has gone there. And they've got to convert at the free throw line. Look at the hustle of Chris Allison. He runs out of court here, saves the ball, sacrifices life and limb.
You can't count the number of times he gets up off the floor. Hughes converts. And I suppose if Chuck Bisher could have anybody he wanted at the foul line, he'd pick this guy. Hughes feathers in another. 7-point Lion lead.
That's a situation you got to get him the ball low, then, don't you? Down the stretch here in the last 7 minutes of this game.
Hughes is a little better than 76%.
Get the ball to him. Get the ball to him.
Allison plays every minute for Rock Island.
You know the years we had the great Andy Kaufman playing for us at Jacksonville. You had to get his hands on the ball, and he's going to score. He's going to get fouled.
Nice catch by McGahee inside to get it down. But I think the foul was first. That was a tough pass to catch, and he handled it.
McGahee, for a big kid, has good hands. He catches the ball well when he flashes.
Foul was first. It was on Saison. Here's the end.
Look at McGahee. He's posted up in front of Howard. Catches a difficult pass, too.
White, 3.
He can nail him. Donnie White's probably the best pure shooter on the Rock Island team.
Donnie White, his dad was a state wrestling champion back in '67. Rock Island won that championship. Howard finds his team ahead by but 4. Charles White off the glass.
Wonder if he called that one.
He really smacked it off of there.
He smacked it is right.
And now the Rocks need to answer. 6:20 to play. Frank Massoni along with Jim Albrecht and Coach Mel Rustio of Jacksonville at the AA Final 4. Jones goes inside. Ball loose. Central has it. Tried to get it into McGahee again.
I think in this possession you're going to see Peoria Central take a little time and be patient. Try to get something high percentage.
There's Howard. He ducks in with the left. Rebound Jones.
It was high percentage. He just didn't get it.
White's ahead of the pack. He slides in and missed.
Smart play on Michael Hughes' part. He got out of the way and didn't foul.
And Reynolds hasn't fouled in the third quarter. He got his third in the second. Hughes, 3, short.
I believe that ball was deflected.
I think it was too. Allison gets an opening. Pulliam a 3.
Foul on McGahee.
Banging on the rebound. McGahee picks it up.
Tony Pulliam just off a little bit in his shooting, and he's such a fine shooter. And, of course, Rock Island needs him down the stretch here in the last 5 minutes.
Chuck Bisher said before this tournament, all I want is for them to play like they can play. I think other coaches like Duncan Reed would say, what I want is a chance to win the game.
That's right.
When it comes down to the end.
I think if you play as well as you can play and somebody beats you, you're happy with your effort. You just don't want to go out and stink up the place with poor play or poor decision or getting in foul trouble or shooting terribly. Just play a good ball game, and if you lose, then you lose.
You know, I think Thornridge's effort in the whole first quarter of that game would have been way different if Townsend Orr would have recognized that that was his basket to start the game. And little things are big things sometimes.
That's a good point. He started out not knowing which was his basket, and that kind of messed him up. And the coach commented about that too.
8-point lead for the Lions. Pulliam is in the corner. White's up top. Stripped away by Howard. White's got it back. Allison's open. Hangs, fires. Howard hawks the rebound.
Wrong people are getting shots for Rock Island on the line here. They need to have the shot being taken by Brian Jones or Donnie White, in particularly Donnie White, Brian Jones, and Tony Pulliam.
Lamont Wortham is going to come in at 6'8". It'll be interesting to see if he comes in with Jones for the first time.
Yeah, I would think not, but then again, he may be.
4.5 to play.
With an 8-point deficit, they're going to have to up the tempo a little bit and put some heat on.
And Donnie White picks up a foul. It's the third foul on White. Not a big factor this deep into the game. Jones does go out.
You see what an injury does to a young man in a ball game. Brian Jones started this ball game off just super and had the ankle injury and had to go to the dressing room early, and he's come back and he's just not been a factor the second half.
Howard makes 4 out of 5 at the free throw line.
Howard may be another one of those youngsters that you talk about, the forgotten man, as the description was used, the unsung hero. Everybody else gets a lot of attention, but he's right there all the time.
Good-looking athlete. It's a 10-point lead for the Lions, and there's timeout. 4:26 to play. We'll come back at the Assembly Hall. Now this from one of your network sponsors, Country Companies. This evening, the last mile. Tip-off before the tip-off at 6, and then the third place game. It'll be King against one of these, and then the championship. Will it be Lincoln's third in a row? Or maybe will it be Central trying to go undefeated? We'll find out soon. 4:23 left.
If it ends up this way, it's going to be a classic confrontation.
Lions look zone. Rock Island may shoot a couple threes.
They're going to have to increase their offensive tempo. If they're going to shoot threes, they're going to have to shoot them a little bit sooner than what they are now. They're a little bit too patient. You got to create some things.
They've got this big crowd behind them waiting to go if they can get a run.
Waiting to erupt, but they got to have some reason.
It's a very low-scoring game.
We're too patient here, too patient.
Pulliam looks in, has it slapped away.
There's that great pressure that Charles White and Chris Reynolds put on the wings in that 3-2 defense.
Allison, 3, good. Chris Allison drilled a 3. He has 6. Lead goes from 10 to 7. The three-point shot has changed the game. Charles White splits.
Good eyes by Tyrone Howard. He saw White open at the free throw line, gained the ball, and Charles White attacked right now.
A silent 14 by White in a low-scoring game. Wortham steps in. Missed it. Wortham got in with no trouble. Couldn't get it to drop. Allison gets up to face Chris Reynolds.
He's jumping out in front of people getting charges.
Nothing wrong with his courage. High post White again.
Smart play by Charles White that time. He knows that the enemy is a clock now. Get some ticks off of it before you shoot.
The Lions in White. Foul on Allison.
What Allison's trying to do here, Frank, is you check it out here on the replay. He's trying to jump in front of people to get charges, to get ball possession. And in that situation, the referee didn't think he was set. But that's a courageous ball player, and those are things that you do to turn around games such as this.
And if it happens, Chuck Bisher's got 4 fouls on his point guard.
That's right. That's right. You know, when you're down and you're playing catch-up, you've got to score points with the clock dead. And the only way you score points with the clock dead is to go to your free throw line. And Allison is ready to sacrifice his body to do that.
Wortham out, and Jones returns. 2:38 to go. Reynolds has not shot free throws well. McGahee rebounds. The Rocks have a chance. Let's see if they shoot quicker. Allison looked at it. Pulliam is out there with him. Pulliam, 3. Ball might have got slapped there.
May have been deflected a little bit. Reynolds going to have to be a better free throw shooter here.
Allison went down again as he and Reynolds collided. Central's protecting a 9-point advantage. White sends it out, and there is another one on Allison.
He may have been set that time, folks. I don't know, but I'll tell you what. He's the kind of exciting young ball player. You either love him or you hate him. And, of course, the hometown fans love him because of his courageousness. Now, just watch him here.
Take a look at this guy.
He's going to jump out and try to get a charge from Reynolds there. Okay, he got hit in the Adam's apple pretty good. He gets back up. He puts pressure back on the ball. Now he's going to come around, and he's going to check the driver coming back out. It's White, I believe, is coming back out. And, folks, I believe he was set right there. That was a charging foul. Yours truly would have been screaming his head off, as would have a lot of coaches, because he did something defensively that takes a lot of courage.
Looks like he got there.
He should have been rewarded for it.
White puts 1 down of 2. 10-point game, just over 2 minutes in this semifinal. It's McGahee, puts it on the deck, and then off the window, got it down, count it.
Sean McGahee, a big, strong kid, big, square-shouldered lad, good hands, catches the ball well, and puts it off the glass softly.
This is 8 points for McGahee.
Catches inside, just mooses it up off the glass and in, and he's going to try to make it a 3-pointer the old-fashioned way.
25, Sean McMillan, 6'1" junior.
Duncan's taking Brian Jones out of the ball and going with a smaller, quicker lineup. Going to be putting some pressure on. Of course, I tell you what, I think Central's better when you pressure him, and of course, Rock Island has to do that.
Millen, 6'1" senior, and he's number 25, just into the game for the first time. Also in is Jack Anderson, number 30, a 6'1" junior.
Quicker kid.
They got the speed in there to press the Lions on the full court.
Denying long pass.
Reynolds got it. Up ahead to Hughes. Pull up one-hander. He's got it back. Hughes.
Peoria Central is so good.
Looked to me like the Lions got called for a foul by Saison, but we'll see.
We get a charge here finally.
McCartney Saison, right after the goal, picks up a, watch this.
Okay, there's Hughes on the jumper. He follows it, gets his own rebound, and scores. That's when he's so good. Now we'll check here and see Allison's getting bumped around pretty good. And the foul is called over the back on against Peoria.
It is on Saison, his 4th. It does look like they call a double foul, maybe one on Allison also. That means jump ball and the possession arrow to Rocky.
Right, that's exactly what you have.
Yes, the other foul is on Allison, number 3 on him.
Well, Allison was pushing out. You could see in the replay, was really being aggressive with his box out, and so the referee saw it as a double foul.
Watch Rocky shoot a 3. White. Oh!
Donnie White's the best shooter on that ball club.
It's a 7-point game and a quick timeout for Duncan Reed. We'll come back with the climax. Right now, let's pause for these messages. There are the numbers. You don't see, Coach, a double foul very often. Watch this.
No, you don't. And I think you'll see the aggressive box out of Chris Allison right here. Seen pushing in. Now you see the Central person grab Allison by the chin. And so he's got a double foul, and that's a good call from the guy in the trailer.
And he pointed to both people.
Yep.
Allison first, and then to the stunned Saison. Saison looked like they just handed him a subpoena.
Good camera work.
Reynolds comes up. A minute and a half to play, and the Lions lead by 6.
They got to understand to take care of the ball here. And of course, convert it to free throw line. ticks of the clock, ticks of the clock.
Tyrone Howard will be the first of those clutch foul shooters in the late going for the Lions. They survived Bloom 62-61 yesterday as Brian Jones and Lamont Wortham, the Twin Towers, come on for the Rocks.
Well, they're back in because they're going to be immediately into an offensive situation here, and they're going to put the big guys back in for the rebounding situation here, and at the other end, when they take the three-point shot, they got rebounders in. Big break.
Lions got a big break because Howard missed, and the tip out got him the ball. Of course, that's a set play everybody practices too, that tip out on some of those rebounds. 1:14 left. There's your clock and your score.
Everybody practices free throws too, and Central's got to shoot them better.
The Lions shoot free throws at 66% on the season. They haven't done that in the Hall.
That's not bad for a team average, around 66, 67, but they, as you point out, they haven't been that in the 2 games they played, have they?
No way. Reynolds at 66 for the season. He's missed several in a row. 6-point game. Rocky might shoot a 3. They're alive.
You're asking for an accident there.
White adjusts in the air. Howard got it. Up ahead to the driving Reynolds.
That may do it right there.
Well, that's it.
If you can't shoot free throws, shoot slams.
At 6-1, Allison goes in. White a 3. Yes!
Boom.
They're still alive. 5 points with 49 seconds and timeout. I'm out, and we'll be back after this from one of your network sponsors, the Illinois Pork Producers. Chris Reynolds missed a free throw, but there was a steal in the front court, and watch his signature on the end of this.
Well, Reynolds can really elevate, gets up and makes a statement with the slam dunk. Look at Allison here, though. He could have gone up and gotten fouled, but he knows his team needs 3 points, and so he kicks it out right now to Donnie White, who banks it in for the 3.
A clutch 3, 50-45. Central in the lead, protecting their perfect season. White is hooked.
You know, interestingly enough, I had a conversation this morning with Don Robinson, and we talked about this very thing and how this thing just kind of goes on and on and on with these fouls. We put in the books that there's an intentional foul, and that's an intentional foul. And the kid wasn't going for the ball. He was going to get a piece of the guy's arm to stop the clock because they have to.
You're telling us there's a rule that they're not using?
Sure, just like the bench decorum rule that they haven't been very good at using. You either implement the rule and adhere to it, or you don't. You know, maybe but we need to do something. Now, the thing I'd like to see him do is, in this situation, give Peoria Central a chance. Do you want to shoot those 2 automatic free throws, or do you want to take the ball out of bounds? And you know what? I think it will have spectator appeal. I think it will have spectator appeal.
22, Rick Kelly checks into the game. That's a very interesting point, and we'll pursue that again tonight.
It gets too long. I got football friends that want us to count the free throws and shoot them all at the end of the game when the stands are empty.
Free throw is down by Charles White. Yeah, the fans don't want just a free throw shooting contest down the end of the game.
Give them the choice of taking the ball out of bounds or shooting right here, and call it anything inside 2 minutes is 2 shots or the ball out of bounds.
That was 5 fouls on Pulliam, by the way. So he's out for Rocky. It's a 7-point game. There's 41 seconds left there. Donnie White. Kelly can shoot 3s also, and he tries one. Lift out. Loose. Hustle. Rocky.
Well, I'll tell you what, a Duncan Reed Ball Club is not going to quit ever. They're going to fight you right down to the end, and it's a proud program, a proud group of young people out there, but it appears obvious that they're going to be playing King in the 3rd place game, and it's going to be Central and East St. Louis.
Allison. It's Jones inside, got the layup down. It's a 5-point game, 22 seconds.
Maybe it's not so obvious.
And Rock Island kills the clock again. We'll come back. Let's pause for these messages. It all begins again tonight at 6 o'clock with Before the Tip-Off. And your network sponsors, the country companies, John Deere and the Pork Producers of Illinois. I hope you're with us. Brian Jones pulls his team within 5.
The card should have been a factor in this ballgame, possibly, Frank, and he not gone off with the ankle injury.
certainly hampered the game of Rock Island because he really came out of the blocks.
You know, it appears that Central's still going to have to make some free throws down the stretch here to put this game on ice.
You know, the same problem exists in the college game, too,
Sure.
at the end of the games.
Look for something long here, possibly.
Hughes. And Hughes will shoot.
Smart coaching move. Coach Fisher at the timeout. So Michael Hughes, you come and catch the ball. They're going to foul somebody, and I want an 80% free throw shooter on the free throw line.
Senior Sean McMillan fouled him. So the way this shapes up.
So it's a difficult situation here with the three-point field goal in play. Hughes gets both of them down. The Rocks still can whittle into the lead by 1 if they can come down and hit it.
He missed it, and 2 threes. Still gives you that flicker. 16, 15. White for 3. Banked it off. 10 seconds left.
Ooh, mercy. Got to be intentional.
That was again called a bonus. You can see Chuck Fisher give in some you know, Coach, when you get into a situation where the other team's got to shoot a 3, you can foul also.
That's right. That's right. But watch this now. This is why the 3. Look at this. He's going for the ball. I thought he tackled it. That's an intentional foul.
Chris Reynolds. Now the Rock Island Rocks get Ed Vesey, Wayne Meyer, and Scott Small back in the game. They'll play again, and they'll have hardware when they go home for the 2nd year in a row.
Duncan's getting a lot of his kids in the ball game right here. Of course, they're going to be playing for the 3rd place game. I would be concerned if I was Chuck Fisher that the kids aren't really you know, finishing opponents off at the free throw line as they should.
Reynolds missed again. 8 seconds. Small comes down for 3. Make it Kelly. There's Central's rebound, and that should do it. The undefeated Lions are in the championship.
Well, you've got the classic matchup for a title, Frank. You got the undefeated number 1 ranked Peoria Central Lions going for something that hasn't been done since 1981. And you've got certainly the history-making East St. Louis Tigers trying to make it 3 state tournament titles in a row.
And one other thing, Benny Lewis going for his 4th state championship, which would tie Ron Belling in the all-time record list. So that's it for this afternoon. East St. Louis Lincoln and Peoria Central advance. We'll be back tonight at 6 with all the action. For Jim Albrecht and Coach Mel Rustio, Frank Bissoni, thanks for watching, and we'll see you tonight.
You've been watching the 1989 chapter of March Madness. Your network sponsors were John Deere and your local John Deere dealer. The Illinois Pork Producers Association. The 10,000 pork producers in Illinois encourage you to try the new lean, nutritious pork, the other white meat. And the country companies. And there are more than 900 agents throughout Illinois. You've got the country behind you.